Hi. Thanks for coming. I guess it looks like it's 2 o'clock, so we'll get started. Always like to start with a little humor at these meetings. Half the fun of shooting off bottle rockets is emptying the bottles. Kids today, iPhones, iPads, AirPods, me when I was a kid. Playing with the doorstop. That's kind of fun, it's springy. It's July 4th, the only day of the year you might actually see a young person look up from their cell phone. Give Candy Crush Saga a rest. Happy July 4th. Let's take a closer look at this all-American holiday. Fireworks, invented in China. Hat, made in Cambodia. Flag, made in Bangladesh. Shirt, made in Vietnam. Statue of Liberty, made in France. Towel, made in Turkey. Shorts, made in Pakistan. Frankfurter, invented in Germany. And shoes, made in China. God bless America. My friend said she wouldn't eat cow's tongue because it came out of a cow's mouth. I gave her an egg. That was sent in by one of our residents. Americans, we walked on the moon. Also, Americans, open box before eating pizza. This is when you tell me we need more milk, about halfway down. Not here, that's from my wife. I thought I'd share that for the guys in the room. Maybe you've come across that problem. Remove child before washing. That's always a good idea. Anytime you're washing clothes, you should remove the children first. My teacher pointed at me with her ruler and said, at the end of this ruler, there's an idiot. I got detention after asking which end. That may or may not have happened. COVID-19 in Westminster, we do have one case of COVID in our assisted living. It's a resident, and in one case of our associates that have COVID. And both are really light cases, no symptoms, pretty much. With the employee, barely any symptoms, I guess I should say. And so you're having to wear a mask when you go to assisted living now until those infections are cleared. You're not needing to wear a mask in healthcare, so the arbor, and also, of course, independent living and the first floor, the rehab floor. You don't have to wear a mask there. You do need to screen in, however, and have your temperature taken and log in through the AccuShield station because we have to keep track of all the visitors that go through those levels of care. Questions and answers. Your favorite part. When will 1890 be available in the Carlisle building? I don't know. We can update you, but we don't have a date. I can tell you that the plan has been created for the fix and approved by Spectrum. We signed off on it as well. They are working on getting funding and ordering the equipment. It is coming. Soon, they say. That's all they'll say. When will the new Windsor and Preston chillers be installed, running, and testing? The chillers have been installed in the Windsor and the Preston. The Windsor building is being cooled by those chillers. The Preston building is scheduled for startup later this week, I believe, possibly early next week. But that is a smaller chiller that's meant for backup. And our main chiller is cooling the Preston building with no problem. Can you consider a drop box for star cards to be installed in Preston? You can drop off star cards at the suggestion box in any of the mail rooms. So if you don't want to, for some reason, you don't want people to see that you're kind and nice to the associates and want to pass on compliments without being seen, you can just drop them in that little suggestion box and we'll get those. You can also drop off suggestions. So I encourage you to do that in any mail room, okay? Can you explain the color that is being painted on the doors in Windsor? Absolutely. these were part, I'm going to read this directly. These were part of the interior design for the campus and are being carried out through the rest of the campus eventually. The color will help identify the floors and is part of the overall Texas eclectic theme that we are going for with the interior design. Disclaimer, I do not offer interior design opinions. If I did, this would be a very rustic farmhouse, and you probably wouldn't like that. But overall, I think that the aesthetic and the job of the interior designers is really good. It's called Texas Eclectic. It's meant to be timeless, so that we can change pieces of furniture without having to repaint the whole hall. So there are some pieces of furniture that need to be replaced. We'll do that in the coming months. But overall, it's a really nice design. Received lots of compliments on it. I'm sorry you don't like the persimmon color or the, what was it, baby poop color? It's not really. It's called butternut squash. And if your baby's pooping that color, take it to the hospital. There's a problem. Will the Windsor expansion be painted the same color as those in the Windsor and Carlisle? Meaning your doors? Yes, eventually, when we run out of things to spend money on. So, it's planned in the budget, so it'll happen probably in the next several months. We're working pretty heavily on the Windsor, making a lot of progress. The carpet's all been replaced at this point, and they're painting. Third floor and first floor are third floor is getting paint now, and then they're prepping the first floor. You probably saw the measles all over the wall. That's not really measles, it's just sheetrock, plaster. So, why do I feel disappointed when I hear I have to wait for a room in assisted living when I need it? I don't want anybody to be disappointed. We have a ready list for assisted living, and we've had one for some time. And usually people put themselves on the ready list when they notice their own decline. Maybe they're not feeling as good as they used to, they're not as spry as they used to be, the family has concerns, and so we add these people to a list. But you need to know that all life care residents are our first priority. That's why we exist, to serve you. You will always receive the services when you need them, in the least restrictive and most appropriate level of care to meet your needs. That's our job every day, and that's what we're dedicated to doing. The only time that we've had residents in my 16 years of being here that couldn't come to skilled nursing right away, there's 2 times. One time was when we had 14 residents in independent living get sick at one time, and they all ended up in the hospital. And for a period of about 3 weeks, we had to send them to Longhorn Village, 2 people. And for those 2 people, we of course paid for their stay. We were providing transportation to their spouses every single day, and were involved in their care plan. And we got them back to Westminster as quick as we could. And we ensured that Longhorn took as good a care of you, or those people, as we would have here. And then we had a resident one time, for some reason, the discharge planner sent her to another facility instead of ours. And we didn't find out about it until they'd already moved in to the other facility. And so they finished out their rehab there. It was a couple weeks. If you're in the hospital and you fall and break a hip, or you have a stroke and you end up in the hospital, just tell them you want to go to Westminster. And we're always going to check on you and try to find out where you've gone if you do have an emergency, if we know about it. If we don't know about it, if it happens outside of here, make sure that your family tells us, make sure that you request to go to Westminster, and you'll be taken care of tremendously, right? That's who you are, absolutely who we're dedicated to providing services for. And that's true of assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, whatever level of care you need. Robin Akins did a great presentation the other day, and it was the first part of a 3-part series on all the capabilities and resources that Westminster has to help you live your best life. And one of our goals is always to help you remain independent as possible, meaning to support you in living your best life in the least restrictive environment possible. And that's our goal every single day. And that's what we strive for. So there should not be anybody concerned about not being able to get the care that you need when you need it. Is it true that outsiders are allowed to come into our assisted living? Yes, that is true. We are allowing non-Westminster residents to come into our assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing. We've been doing this for years. Not in assisted living because we only had 22 units, right? And that was really only available to life care residents because there was not capacity to do anymore. You, our life plan residents, are our number one priority. Outsiders pay the required daily rate without a discount, a security deposit, and a community fee. We have accepted outside admissions, again, for years in our skilled nursing and our memory care, but always while prioritizing the needs of our life plan residents. This practice helps us keep our monthly service fees low. What does that mean? So, if Westminster didn't take outside admissions from private pay individuals, Medicare, other insurances in our skilled nursing, then all revenue would be coming directly from you, right? So if there's trouble in the market and the insurance premium goes up 35%, which it just did for property insurance, you're gonna have to have an increase. Right? Because you're paying the monthly service fees. If that was the only place Westminster got revenue, you would have to offset those costs. So we kind of diversify our portfolio in accepting other sources of revenue that help keep our monthly service fees down. Over the last 7 years, Westminster's maintained, except for last year, about a 3% or less increase. So if you compare that to, I know you all have friends at Corinthia and Longhorn and other places. Compare that to the local competitors and you will find that that's about 10 or 12% less than any of the other communities in town. Last year, our 6% increase, there were people in the industry, even in Austin, that were passing along 20% increases to their residents. And so when the labor market gets tight and we need to maintain a competitive edge and make sure that we're a top of the mind employer, electricity goes up, the inflation goes up, you're not feeling that because we're managing our occupancy as high as we can in every level of care, and we're bringing in these outside sources of revenue. At the same time, we are maintaining 2 to 3 units available in every level of care in case you need it. So if one of you had a stroke tomorrow, heaven forbid, and you needed to go to skilled nursing, that bed is available. Okay? I promise you that that's always going to be the case. You're our number one priority. But it's also a priority for me to manage Westminster as efficiently as I possibly can. And that's taking care of everyone and the community all the time. And that's what we do. And I know that, I think Robin said, this is above my pay grade. That wasn't a good response. Nothing is above anyone's pay grade here. If they don't know the answer to something, which she does know the answer to that question, then we need to be able to find it, right? And you can ask me. The best thing would have been to say, ask Chuck. Or if I don't know, let's talk about it offline. I'm not lying to you. I am very transparent. I will tell you the truth every single time you ask me. You may not like my answer, but I'll always give you one. Okay, and I do my very best, and all of us do, the entire leadership team, to run Westminster at a top level, 5-star quality, and that's been our goal for years and years, and always to be better tomorrow than we are today. And so I promise you we're always going to be here for you. That's a guarantee, that's a contract that you have with us. That will always provide the level of care and the support that you need for your best life, okay? Okay, back to the question, sorry. I got a little preachy there for a minute. When are the exterior windows going to be washed? We have a couple companies that are bidding this work. We should have the numbers soon. The thing that we don't want to do, most everybody that we've had conversations with want to do what's called pole cleaning, and that's when they use the big pole extensions to clean the windows. And the last time they did that, they scratched the solar film. So we're looking for a company that can propel off the roof like we used to have it done, and do it right. It's also been very dusty with the construction, and that's probably why you want your windows washed. Well, dust is still there, but we know that we'll try to do that window washing this summer. And I reached out to another company a while ago before I came here. Can you have the doors that are by rehab area open automatically? Yes, we're working on this. That's supposed to happen. There are big openers above them. They're supposed to work, they do not. So we're working on that. Are pets allowed in the Rowan Lounge? No, the Rowan Lounge is an area where food is served. Pets are not allowed in those areas. Which desks are manned at all times? I think they mean reception desk. I had trouble getting in touch with someone around 2 a.m. when I called the main line. So that's a problem. No desk is manned 24 hours a day. Typically, security is here 24 hours a day, and we have 3 security guards or concierge. Most of the reception desks are open in the morning about 7:30, and they close around 9:30. And then the phone system is supposed to roll over to the healthcare center and assisted living, and also to the security guards. And for some reason, it is not doing that. So we're trying to find out what happened. It's a new occurrence, something that's happened with the programming that needs to be corrected. And Danny and his team are working on that. What is the progress on the Carlisle garage entrance? We're working on this. I know we want mirrors. They've been ordered. We did receive the signage, so we'll be putting that up, some stop signs, speed limit signs. All of this is going to be installed soon. Can we get remotes for entrance into the Carlisle garage? I hope so. We reached out to Cothran's. They're the folks that installed the system. It's a different system than we had on the Windsor. So they're checking into that, and they're supposed to let me know this week. Can we provide additional wheelchairs at the Arbor and Carlisle entrances? There have been times at the Arbor when no wheelchairs are available. We will address this, so we've already added a couple wheelchairs to those entrances. In the Windsor building on the Arbor side, the wheelchairs are being kept by the Bellman cart in the puzzle area. So this should be resolved now. Can you please explain the process for rekeying our fobs? So most residents should have received new key fobs by now if they were needed. How many of you have new key fobs? Okay, most everybody. Some of you may not have needed them. There was a period of time where new residents were getting what was called a 4K key, which is similar to my key. It's black, and it has 2 chips in it. Your key fobs are required to have 2 chips because we have 2 systems that are maintaining access control. We have an interior system, which is called ASA Abloy, and then we have a Cothran's proprietary system on the exterior doors. Eventually, we'll move all of the exterior doors to the new system, ASA Abloy. But for now, you have to have a fob that has 2 chips in it. And so you can operate both sets of doors, both systems. Security is doing an audit right now, today, and they are going to address any needs of residents. But in the meantime, if you have problems with your key fob, reach out to reception, and they can get you a new key fob. And the problem was, for a period of time, you couldn't get 4K fobs. You couldn't get the fobs with the 2 chips in them. There was a back order because of, COVID, supply chain issues. They wouldn't come from China. I don't know. But we ordered and received 8,000 key fobs, so we have plenty. And you laugh, but we also purchased 60 shower doors because we couldn't purchase 1 at a time, or 2 at a time, or 3 at a time. We were refurbishing apartments and replacing shower doors. Well, we can't have delays for 4 months waiting on shower doors, so we just went ahead and purchased a bunch. Same thing with key fobs. We were like, we're gonna use these for the next 50 years. We need to have them here, so that's why we purchased so many. People have been complaining about mosquitoes. Would please ask people to make sure that they don't have any standing water on their patios. That would really help. So please address any standing water you might have. Don't overwater your plants. We're also treating for mosquitoes and have increased the treatments to every 2 weeks. So that should help. Can we change out the menus in all 3 restaurants every 3 months? That's our goal. We don't always hit that goal, but we try to do that. Why does Westminster charge a surcharge for automated billing or credit card payments? A lot of places do that. We do that. We actually have a deal with a company that only charges 1% for the process fee, and that's why you're being charged that surcharge. It's 1%, and that's to cover the charge that we're being charged for the payment. And a lot of places they're charging 3% because they have a kind of a worse deal with the credit card companies. Question: given the age of the residents here, can you provide less cream-based soups and sauces in the interest of reducing fat and cholesterol from our diets? No. I'm just kidding. We believe. No, that's not a very diplomatic answer, right? No. We believe that we have a good variety, but we will consider this over time and with the resident food committee. There are many healthy options available on the menu, and many residents love the cream soups. I do too. So, okay. Would you please remind everyone that cell phone use for making or receiving calls is prohibited in our 3 dining rooms? Yes, it's okay to show pictures of your great-grandkids, but don't play YouTube videos and don't use your phone in the dining rooms for talking, because it bothers people. That seems fair. Would you please remind everyone to back away from the elevator doors and let folks off? I can't believe this has been asked again. Before crowding into the elevators. I think somebody needs to be run over, and then you let them figure it out. Yes, residents, please consider yourself reminded. Is there any plan to open the Rowan to the public, perhaps individuals 55 and older? No. There is no plan to do this. All of our venues are for the enjoyment of our residents and their guests. We would need to reprice our menus because no place in town can you buy beef tenderloin for $14. We would need to reprice our menus and provide the ability to accept payment, which we do not have. So, use the Rowan. Why is it necessary to log into the portal in order to read an announcement? So I guess the system is sending out emails and it says, the mail has arrived, or the bistro is going to be shut down, and so you want to know more information and you have to log into the system. And I say, I don't know the answer to this question, but it seems silly to me, and Ruth is going to address it with the company.
It comes as an attachment. They can actually open the attachment, but it says log in to see the...
So there you go. There's a trick. There's a workaround. So the announcements come, right, and there's a summary of the announcement, and then there's an attachment that has the whole announcement on it. You can click on that attachment, and you can see the whole message, okay, without logging into the system.
That's in the email?
That's good to know. Yes, it's in an email.
Yes, it's on the email.
Yep.
It just gives you the title of the announcement, but the flyer comes as an attachment, as a PDF.
Sounds wonderful. Okay. Can you use dining dollars for a bottle of wine? Yes, you can use dining dollars for wine by the glass or bottle. We do not sell boxes, but you must make a food purchase. This is important, but you must make a food purchase at the time, and it's limit 1. And the reasons are, this is directly out of TABC. We have what's called a mixed beverage permit, right, on both the Laurel Restaurant and the Rowan. The holders of a mixed beverage permit with a food and beverage certificate, that's us, may sell all classes of alcoholic beverages to go, as long as the alcohol is sold alongside a food order. So go get yourself some duck rolls, buy a bottle of wine, and it's totally legal to do that with your dining dollars. Also, all holders of a mixed beverage permit, which Westminster is, may allow a consumer to remove from the premises, take home, unfinished bottles of wine that were ordered with the consumer's food served on the mixed beverage permit premises. We good? All right, good. I knew you would be. Can you help us understand the liquor license and what it means? Yes, you are allowed to bring any type of alcoholic drink to the bistro, as there is no liquor license in that dining room. Unfortunately, we cannot allow you to bring your own liquor of any kind in the Laurel or Rowan restaurant or lounge. This is due to the liquor license, the mixed beverage license that we have. We have done our best to price our menus inexpensively so that you can enjoy our wine, which I think it is really a good price. The Westminster, just a reminder for everybody, I wanted to make sure the Westminster Campus Shuttle service is available for your use. Please contact reception or security when needed to request your shuttle. The shuttle service is available from the hours of 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., 7 days a week. This is for on-campus use only between the buildings for resident convenience. Are there any, just out of curiosity, how many people would like to go to the Grove with our shuttle? Is there anything there that you would like to be able to have access to with the shuttle? Raise your hand. Few people? What is it that you want?
Restaurants.
Restaurants, there's a couple restaurants you'd like to be able to get to?
One's open, the other one's opening soon, and
Okay.
then the third and fourth.
I think that we'll probably start doing that when it all 100% opens. And that way you have, I think there's supposed to be a theater too, right? No? Did they cancel that? Okay. But we'll try to expand our shuttle service so it includes the Grove if you want to go over there. Dining update. So the hours of the Rowan restaurant, there seemed to be some confusion, and our staff was confused as well. So the hours of the restaurant are 4:30 to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. You do need reservations for parties of 5 or more. It was 4 or more, but I think that's silly. We can handle a table of 4, and you should be able to walk in. And the walk-in hours are no longer limited. I thought that was silly too. So we're gonna go, you can go up there from 4:30 to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. You can walk in. As long as you're a table of 4 or less, you should be fine. The Rowan Cocktail Lounge is open from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Mondays. The dining room restaurant is closed on Mondays. The Rowan Cocktail Lounge is open from 1 to 9, Tuesday through Sunday. Okay. The Continental Breakfast. This is a source of controversy. Some people are using it as a grocery store, and it is not. Residents are asked to limit to 4 items at a time. Please be respectful of others that may follow you. So if there's only 4 bananas there, don't take all 4 bananas. Leave something for the next person. Yogurts, whatever. It is not to be used to do your shopping. Residents should take only what they can consume for that day's breakfast. Continued abuse of the complimentary continental breakfast will unfortunately cause it to be discontinued. It's very expensive. I started it years ago when we realigned food and beverage, and I really wanted to provide a continental breakfast for residents to enjoy and kind of bring some residents to the dining room. And it's just kind of grown to be a monster. So I do hope that you enjoy it, but I hope that you enjoy it and don't use it as a grocery store, please. I'd hate to discontinue it, I really would. I understand that the Laurel kitchen will be renovated. Will the Laurel dining room remain as is? And I know that you're asking that because, hey, you just renovated the Laurel dining room. The reason we did that was because it was dated and it needed to be updated. And we didn't want to wait 5 years for it to be updated because it was showing its age, right? And I'll discuss this if we have time in the following slides after I do a little Q&A. What is the 7-year plan for Westminster that I've heard referred to? What does it include? the simple answer to that is a strategic master plan is in place for the next 5 to 7 years and beyond. And we do this as a board, governing board and leadership about every 7 years. And we worked on a strategic plan that created the Carlisle building and the Windsor expansion and the bistro and all those things that you're enjoying. That was part of the strategic plan, the master plan. The Carlisle completion was phase 2 of the master plan. Phase 3 of the master plan, the Windsor was phase 1, of course, right, and the bistro area and all of that. Phase 3 of the master plan was the refurbishment and redesign of the Windsor first and third floors. And so that's almost complete. And now phase 4 will address some issues that we have between the Preston and the Windsor building, and also some problems that we have with the Preston. And that's part of the strategic planning. Also, we review our mission vision statements, core principles. We look at the financials and we decide as a group, what are the financial metrics that we want to measure ourselves against? What are our goals as a community? Where do we want to be in the next 5 to 7 years? How do we maintain top workplace? How do we maintain our associates? How do we maintain high resident satisfaction? How do we compete against the new competition? All of those things go into the strategic plan. That's really what we're doing. So, sometimes you may think, oh, that Chuck, man, he's always doing some new project. Well, it's not just Chuck, it's the whole board, and we're all on this path together. And we're all, it's not one day I just get a wild hair and I'm just, oh, you know what, I think I'll just tear up everything and make a new pavilion. That's not what it's about. It's really about a plan. And it's really about keeping Westminster top of the market. Because if we ever stop, we won't be, right? If we don't continue to improve, we don't continue to be better than we are, then we lose the battle. And I don't want to lose the battle, and I know you don't want to lose the battle either. We want Westminster to be around for another 55 years, right? Project updates. Speaking of, I want to do a little Q&A now, and I'll go into project updates, or project updates first. Yes, Q&A. Okay.
Thank you. Robin's first of those 3 series on the levels of care was not recorded. At least the audio wasn't. We can look at the slides, but there were questions and answers and things that are missing from that.
Right.
So at least, I'm sorry because I had to miss it, but at least on the next 2, could we have them fully recorded, please?
Yeah, and I asked her to do those during the day
Yeah.
so that we could have them recorded. I think that would be best, yes.
The next one is next week and it'll be recorded.
Yeah. And we'll try to do that first one again and record it, okay?
That's great.
Yeah. Any other questions? You want to go on to projects?
I know you presented it to us today about the continental breakfast, but
Yeah.
I think it needs to be addressed to the whole. So if that could happen.
Yeah, I'm going to send a little memo around to everybody.
Chuck?
I'll ask a question, Chuck, before you finish this current slide. When you've got nice new signs up in the Windsor Tower, and that lists all the Carlisle floors.
Yeah.
When do you plan to put signs up listing the Windsor facilities?
Just kills me. Okay. Soon. I think honestly, if we really want to create some revenue around here and kind of think outside this whole senior living thing, y'all should go to work putting up signs, making signs and putting up signs, because it's hard. So we're in queue. This is what they told me, that we're in queue to have them produced. They produce some of them, but they have to produce them all before they come down and install. There was a a package that was delivered yesterday, and they installed some correction signage, which was installed incorrectly. And they will be back to fix that. And I also think it's hard to find good help. That's all. Yeah. So we absolutely, it's coming. And actually, some of the residents helped me review the signage package, and it's a great signage package if we could ever get it here. And then I don't know if anybody noticed, but some of our exterior signage melted. Some of it melted, and the letters fell off. Anybody notice that? They don't make them like they used to. That's real. That's real, folks. Anyway, we're working on that. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that you said it's hard to find good workers.
Yeah.
Since Abel has taken over the maintenance department, he has really good workers, and one came into my apartment to do one thing, and he says, well, this is wrong, that shouldn't be like that. And he did 2 or 3 other little things while he was there, so I just want you to know and compliment him, please, and his staff.
I will pass that on. I will say that we are better at finding good help than most people. We have really good help here, for the most part. And, I think for a while we talked about being shorthanded in food and beverage, and they're almost 98% staffed at this point, which is fantastic. And a lot of things went into that. I've talked to you about them before, but as a group, the plant ops department does a really good job. They're really working on doing things better and better every day, and they're getting there, so glad to hear that. And I will pass it on. Any other questions? Ms. Kelly?
Hi, Chuck, thank you. My question is about the door that accesses the swimming pool from the walkway, the corridor, across from the bistro.
Yeah.
Is there any thoughts about removing the door before one of us gets killed? It
Yeah.
opens when nobody's walking or putting their hand on the wave thing. It just opens.
Well, we haven't talked about removing the door. I think the door is required. But we did talk about replacing that wave sensor because it's picking up basically a body moving across that hall. So we're talking about replacing it with a key fob reader. It'll make it a little bit more difficult for you, but I think it'll be less likely to hit you if that's the case. So I will. Yeah, we talked about that already. Here, we'll get to you next.
Is the veterans wall completely finished?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay.
It's waiting on a frame, and then there's a shadow box that's supposed to go in the middle of it. Which I need to check on. It should have been produced already.
I would like just to verify something, make sure I heard it right.
Okay.
Can a non-resident come into assisted living, healthcare, or memory care?
If we have availability.
Okay, thank you. That's
And
all.
I'll tell you that, if we have availability is a very important statement. For years, we didn't have enough availability, like we didn't have any availability. And you may remember, how many of you were here during the pandemic? So during the pandemic, I stopped all outside admissions to healthcare. And that was really me being safer than sorry, right? I wanted to make sure that if there was a COVID outbreak that we were able to take care of you in our healthcare center. So our census in the healthcare center dropped to about 68, and if you remember, I had a COVID unit created. It originally was 8 beds, and then I moved it down to 4 as the vaccinations started being produced and everybody was taking those. And that's really what we try to do, is we try to project what the needs of the residents are. We have meetings every week and we discuss residents that have had declines and what levels of care they need and who needs what, when, and we do that. We do that every day, but weekly we make sure that there's a plan in place for everyone's needs. And like I said, those Those are always taking priority. So if we have availability, we will take outside admissions, but only if we have availability. There is a question. This gentleman in the front has had his hand. Okay, one more, and then, go ahead.
Is it necessary or required that the stairwell doors be closed totally when someone's not going in and out?
Yes.
Well, I've come across several where the mechanism does not close the door all the way.
Okay.
I don't
Is that
know.
Preston?
Windsor.
Windsor, okay. Yeah, they're all supposed to be self-latching, and they should be closed. That's a fire stairwell. I'll have those checked. I'm about to do a mock life safety survey with our plant ops team. So that's Windsor. Okay. Yes, sir.
Thoughts, concerns about the new place across the street?
Well, it's gonna be really nice. I can tell you that. I'm not gonna go work there. I like it a lot better
We
here.
approve.
I do think, it's naturally, anytime you do a greenfield development, you can do a whole lot of stuff, right? And sometimes we're limited because of the shape of the building or the space that we have to work within. The Preston building is built as difficult to add on to, but I think phase 4 is going to blow their minds. Phase 4 is going to bring so much enjoyable resident amenities that nobody is going to be able to top. I think it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be it's going to be a project that nobody else can do. Only Westminster has the fortitude to be able to do this kind of project.
When will we learn more about it?
Well, I was going to talk about it today, but I'm kind of running short of time. So,
I'm sorry I
that's
asked.
okay. No, I think it's a good question. And I think, this goes back to, and I get, is Tibby in here? No, I don't see him. We had a fundraiser years ago, and it's called the Jail and Bail, and I got arrested all the time for making too many damn improvements around here. But, honestly, all of the improvements that we're constantly making, number one, we're trying to bring value to your residents here. Besides trying to maintain our top of the market stance, right? We're really trying to bring residency value. So the different venues, the destination spaces, all of the amenity improvements, we're really trying to add value to your living here. And that's really what we're about. So, over the years, many of you have come to me with ideas. And I listen to those ideas, I write them down. Boyd says, yeah, but you don't do them all the time. I'm like, I know I don't get to them all the time, but I write them down, and they kind of have a placeholder for me, and I look for opportunities to employ those ideas. It doesn't always happen as quickly as we would like to, but I think it's really going to be great. I'll talk about it if I get time, but I do have to go through these projects. If I don't get time today, I promise the next chat I will do it. Yes, sir.
One thing about product across the street, it's for profit and not for profit.
That's right. It is for profit. Yes.
And no health care.
That's right. It does not have skilled nursing. It will have assisted living and assisted living memory care, but it doesn't have the skilled nursing aspect. And there was a rumor going around. Let me just dispel this now. There is no agreement between them and us to accept their residents here. They will never, ever take priority over you. I would never do that. And neither would our board. So there is no such agreement. Likely that we will say no more often than not, right? Because I'm not a friendly competitor sometimes. I want to be top of the market all the time. But there was one more question, I think.
On the, I understand the credit card and debit card fees. I don't understand why an electronic check would need to be run through an outside agency and draw a fee.
I don't know either.
But that's why.
I'll ask, so you're asking about that and not credit cards?
Right, no, I
Okay.
understand credit card fees.
All right, I'll
I
ask
don't
about the
understand
electronic check.
fees.
I misunderstood.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unless we're having to process them through an electronic or a third party for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I will look into that. All right. First floor arbor, if you haven't seen it, this looks really great. Stop by, have a look. My office is now back in my old office, so if you get an opportunity, feel free to stop by.
Do you serve wine?
No. No. Would it help? Maybe it would. Maybe we should have a happy hour one of these days over there. Spectrum Wi-Fi. So this is good news. The wire pulling is complete. The last phase of the hardware install is coming soon, and they're actually delivering 4 pallets of WAPs and hardware this week to the campus. And so that means that we're getting very close to being able to install that in your apartment home Wi-Fi. So those WAPs are coming. That's really good news. Finally. The AC portion of the Carlisle and the solar project has been completed. They're waiting. They're going to do a quality assurance inspection, and then they'll be preparing for the Austin Energy inspection. And then once they've had those inspections for the Carlisle and the Windsor, those projects can start. They can actually start producing solar power, which is cool. Service work for the Preston is electric, to bring it up to code. We received the bids, we selected a bid, now we have to get the work scheduled. And if you know anything about electricians and construction in Austin, Texas right now, they're really tied up right now, so it may be a couple months before we can get it started. Pottery Studio is still pending. Ruth is using that as we renovate her office. Boiler project in the Windsor, the work has begun. This is on the heating side of the boiler. The Preston boiler project, we're making slow progress. We're now waiting for another scheduling of the crane so that we can move that project along. We just received, my presentation at the Resident Association meeting is going to be on Westminster quality. Because I know there's a lot of questions about, well, you talk about being 5-star, but who gives us that rating? You talk about being best nursing home, best honor roll, all those things. Well, who gives that to us? So I'm going to go talk about all of those things in our next Resident Association meeting. A couple achievements that we received recently. Our Arbor Skilled Nursing received the Harrison Award for quality, and our Assisted Living received the AIR Award. And then we have our grand opening celebration for the Carlisle tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. It'll be in front of the building for about 15 minutes or 20, and then we'll move inside. And I think there will be wine at that event. So you have to listen to my speech for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then you get to have some wine. Not too bad. CASA of Travis County is our fundraising this month. They exist to promote and protect the best interest of children who have been abused or neglected by training volunteers to advocate for them in courts and schools in our community to help them find safe, permanent, loving homes. It's a great organization. Join us in fundraising for CASA if you can. The donation drive is running from June 12th to July 12th, and you can drop off a donation check at any reception desk or to Rachel Gill. Please make the check payable to Westminster with CASA in the 4 line, and donation receipts will be provided, and donations collected will be matched by Westminster up to $1,000. So it's a great cause if you have an opportunity. And I think our Alzheimer's Texas fundraising is about to kick off at the end of July.
Yes, the kickoff is July 27th.
July the 27th.
July is our month. We start
Right.
fundraising.
So we'll be having a kickoff party in the Preston Courtyard?
Yes.
Preston Courtyard, there'll be a food truck there, probably P. Terry's and something else fun.
Those pops,
Frozen pops.
gourmet pops.
Okay, gourmet pops, okay. Again, star cards can be used for any associate, including those in management, supervisor positions. You just made a star card by telling me that in public, so I'll make sure that Abel gets one. Star cards can be turned into any reception desk or any member of management. If you want to hide that you're giving somebody a star card, you can drop them off in one of the suggestion boxes. Westminster Expansion Phase 4. We're out of time. I don't want to get started. I will tell you that it's very neat. I'll show you the kind of the courtyards. And I will tell you that we're addressing both the west courtyard of the Preston and the central courtyard of the Preston. And there's going to be an area, do I have a pointer? Well, at the bottom right-hand side, you can see that area is another courtyard. And our intent is to enclose the Preston courtyard and to gate along the front of the Preston building, along that street, and provide some really cool spaces to bring in a food truck for an outside activity. We're also going to build a conservatory. That's 2-level conservatory in the Preston courtyard. The pavilion will go away. We're going to rework all of the drainage and pipes in the Preston courtyard, and then set up an outside dining venue that comes off the Preston Laurel dining room. We're also planning to put a cocktail lounge. I don't want to get into all this. We're planning on putting a cocktail lounge into the Laurel dining room as well, and it's going to have a bar that can be used inside or outside, basically. And I'll talk to you more about that next month. There's a lot of improvements. A lot of folks have been asking about pickleball. We've had some billiards, table tennis has been mentioned, a golf simulator has been mentioned, bowling has been mentioned. These are all things that over the years prospects have mentioned to us and residents alike. A recreation room has been mentioned with a great view of downtown, which if you look out the Windsor on the 3rd floor, that window, and you look south, it is a great view of downtown. So I'm going to leave that as a teaser for my next chat. Maria and Ruth, we need to make sure that we have more chairs set up for that event. That'll be next month. I think it's 3rd week of July, maybe?
Last Wednesday of every month.
Oh, the last Wednesday, okay. That's a long time to wait. The rumors should be rampant by then. And then I can dispel them and we'll have a great time. Thank you all very much for coming. I'll see you next month.